Welcome to another episode of RIA Collective. I'm your host, Charlie Van Derven. I've got a guest today that has got a great story that falls in line with what our mission is here at RIA Collective, and that is to really help the industry move towards a more independent, pure advisor-client relationship. He started at the big ones, and he started his own RIA. And actually, now my guest, Haren Bhakta, CFA, I should say that too, certified financial analyst, has started his own ETF. And so we're going to talk about that as well. And the many paths there are here in financial services. We've covered that topic a bunch. But before we go any further, welcome, man. Thank you for taking some time with me.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you got it, dude. You got an interesting story here, and I'm excited to capture it.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude. So now I want to frame up our conversation. And as we chatted about, as we were kind of getting prepared for our conversation today, the whole purpose of what we're doing here at RIA Collective is to help to raise the trust in the industry. I truly feel that fee-based relationship that takes the commission bias out of it is the purest client advisor relationship. And you've been through it all, man. You started in big insurance with Prudential, and then through the big financial firms, Merrill, and then Morgan, and RIA, and then starting your own RIA in 2017. Let's kind of start there. Tell me about that experience going through Prudential and then moving over to one of the large wirehouses.
Yeah, this was 2008. I was trying to get into the investment industry. And in 2008, 2009, obviously nobody was hiring, right?
A tough time.
Mass layoffs. So I started out selling insurance. And I'm very analytical, introverted. Selling insurance was not what I had signed up for when I decided to get into the investment industry. But I think it taught me a valuable lesson in that the ability to communicate to clients and high net worth individuals is incredibly important. So it set me up for my career at Merrill, which was in 2010 when they finally started hiring again. It taught me how to communicate. And when I got to Merrill, I started in the trainee program. I didn't join a team. I had to build up my own book of business on my own. So I spent 2 years at Merrill, then transitioned over to Morgan Stanley, where I spent 5.5 years, again, managing high net worth individuals. And in 2017, I decided to leave and start my own RIA.
That's awesome, man. So I'll share a quick couple of stories. First off, what a great thing just for the ability, you being an introverted person, and you fake it well, if that's the case. But
Tell
being
my wife that.
yeah, but thrown into the Tigers a little bit, right? And
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
the highest performing advisors I know. There's a lot of really great analytical advisors that never perform as high as that super highly social person, right?
yeah. I always thought I would be an analyst or something behind a computer, but it turned out that I do have the ability to go out and not take no for an answer. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Persistence pays, dude. That's for
exactly,
sure.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
very
And that's what it takes in the investment industry. It really takes some relentlessness to build a book of business on your own.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think that that's probably actually the most important trait, right? Is the ability to take rejection over and keep grinding anyway.
exactly.
Yeah, because
Yes.
most people will fail under those conditions.
Yes. In the trainee program at Morgan Stanley, we were told it's 1 out of 10 that really survive
That's right.
I think the 3 year mark.
Yeah, I think that's the stat I hear repeatedly is 90% fail, right?
Yeah.
I'll share with you in 2008, I was working for a website company. We were actually doing Morgan Stanley's website. So I don't know if you remember a name called 50 Below.
Yeah, I
Uh,
remember that.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude, I was their director of business development. So I helped put the
Nice.
program together with Morgan Stanley. So that's way back. But we used to attend a private client event at the Hyatt on 42nd in Manhattan, sponsored by SIFMA, Security Industry Financial Market Association. It was all people that we sold website services to, and it was muckety mucks at Merrill and Morgan and all the other firms. And I was a fly on the wall in 2008 when keynote speakers would get up and they'd be scheduled for an hour. Maybe a keynote speaker from Merrill would get up and be scheduled for an hour, get off the stage after 20 minutes to learn that their job had just been absorbed by.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
So it was
Wow.
like that week, I want to say it was Morgan and Smith Barney, Merrill BOA, and Wells and Wachovia. I think all three happened within that week or a few days of each other. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, I
just,
bet.
I was a young
Yeah.
man, just an interesting place to be
I was a
alive.
young man too, selling insurance at that time. I wasn't quite there yet. I learned like everything what happened when I joined Merrill in 2010, so I heard all the stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild time, man. Wild
Yeah.
time. I didn't even know what it really, I didn't have enough knowledge at that time to really even understand what was happening, but just to be able to observe it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get back to your story, man. We're not here to tell my story. I want to learn. So really what the majority of our listeners are those people that are in that large environment and maybe it just doesn't fit them anymore, right? Maybe it's proprietary products, maybe it's quota driven, maybe it's the pressure of that environment. Maybe they're one of those 90% that got to year two and a half and just couldn't cut it. And we're looking for an option when I like to think they're learning not only what people did well in that move to RIA, but also kind of what were the pitfalls like, right? So let's kind of tackle the conversation from that. What drove you to form your RIA in 2017?
I wanted to do something that we couldn't do with the wirehouses. I was building a book of business and investing in microcap securities, so thinly traded, very small publicly traded companies. I was getting down that niche and I wanted to start my own little microcap fund, something I couldn't do. So I started my own RIA just so I could invest for myself and for clients in companies that Morgan Stanley didn't have a buy rating on or
Yeah,
wasn't even covered,
yeah,
right? So that's the one big issue is we have opinions on what maybe a good investment is, but Morgan Stanley and Merrill, they handicap you. They don't allow you to make recommendations to clients unless they believe it's a buy. And let's be real, sell side research is not sophisticated in any way. You can almost go opposite of what they say and do well.
yeah. You know that better than I do. I can't even
Yeah,
speak to that stuff. But
yeah.
what inspires me about that is being able to forge your own path, right? I think that a lot of people in those environments suffer from the same thing, right? They get stuck in an environment that is a great, first off, what a wonderful place to start a financial career, right? The training grounds, the resources, and everything else. But the ability to follow your passion and that which you thought was best for your clients. That's awesome, man. Great story.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's
But I'll add that I think there's a lot of benefits to staying with the wirehouse, right?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. I think first off, having all your back office covered for you.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, speak to that a little bit. You leave that environment where you've got an assistant sitting outside your office, and if your production's high enough, they're covering that. Or you've got
exactly. And then when you go off on your own, you kind of have to handle compliance on your own. And really, no one is double checking your work until you get audited or until you get a regulator asking questions, and then becomes a whole big ordeal. So that's a huge benefit of really staying with the wirehouses where compliance is kind of done for you. Yeah, they're a pain in your neck, but they're really there to protect you and the firm. And
I think the
yeah,
firm first.
yeah, firm first for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. But then when you go off on your own, you kind of have to hire your own compliance and really learn it yourself.
Yeah.
And there's no one really there to teach you what to do.
Yeah, I think I would say we're talking almost 10 years now, right? 2026. You started yours in 2017. I think the resources are a lot better now, right? And then private market technology is moving faster than any kind of institutional technology is. So I think that side is supported so much better than it was even 10 years ago.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Something you mentioned, Haren, in our initial conversation that I think is something that nobody really thinks about is the loss of community.
Absolutely. So that's my biggest loss is that when you're at the wirehouses, you have a sense of community. You have people in the office with you, all sharing some kind of common goal is to build a book of business and have each other support. And when you go off on your own, you're on your own little island
Yeah.
and it gets lonely. You don't have anyone to really feed off of.
Yeah.
You go in an office every day and you say hi to people and you kind of take that for granted a little bit. And then when you go off on your own, you're just again on an island. You have no
It's
one to
you, dude.
communicate with,
Yeah.
you have no one to bounce ideas off with. You might have a friend in the business or something, but it's very different between walking into an office and seeing people working and interacting with them, going to lunch, things like that. And
Yeah,
you
there's
lose that when you kind of start your own practice.
I think there's an accountability issue to it too, right? If you're in a branch environment with a branch manager and other people producing, that's going to motivate you,
Absolutely.
whether it's through carrot or stick, it's going to motivate you. Where if you and your family are the only ones, hopefully your family makes you accountable. But if you're for a lot of people, I don't want to say you, but if you go on your own, are you able to hold yourself accountable to
Yeah.
the high
Yeah, and
performance?
that's another difficult part of the story as well, for sure. I think the motivation, management at these wirehouses, they do kind of keep you motivated, and
Sure.
they have different group functions and exercises and meetings and things like that to kind of keep you accountable and motivated. And when you're on your own, you have to be self-motivated. And most people in the industry are somewhat self-motivated,
Oh,
right?
sure.
You have to
Yeah.
be to survive this type of industry. But when you're on your own, it's just so much different. Yeah.
So we work with a number of aggregators, right? So RIA aggregators, and I think that on top of vetting vendors for compliance and CRM and trading platforms and all this other stuff, which they're great for that too. But I think one of the things they bring is community. So whether they've got five other advisors or 55 other advisors, it's the group coaching that comes out of that. It's the maybe 2 to 4 times a year kind of group events where, you're on your own, but you're retaining that sense of community through a larger organization. Now, you pay for that stuff, but you're going to pay for your compliance anyway, and you're going to pay for your.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's a nice alternative when someone runs into that feeling like, holy crap, community's gone, man. And
Yeah.
yeah, and you're talking to a guy that works out of his. Yeah, I used to have an office with 11 employees coming to it every day, right? And then we shut that down
Yeah.
with COVID, and now this is my spare bedroom, right? And the my wife keeps me accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah, we run into the same things. I got a team I communicate with every day, but yeah, I run into the same things for sure.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. I do miss that sense of community for sure.
Yeah. Haren, I want to talk to you beyond the RIA. You really followed your dream and started your own ETF.
That's right. Yeah.
There are so many paths, man. There are so many ways inside this industry to help out other people, to forward yourself. And tell me about that journey, right? That's unique to our conversation here. I want to learn what inspired that. Probably goes back to the microcap stuff that you were talking about in 2017, but what inspires that? What's that experience been like?
Yeah, it all started with the idea. I'll tell you how I came up with the idea of what I created. So I created the Inside Ownership Index, right? It's an index that tracks the performance of shares held by insiders. So like the C-suite and the board. I was I'm a huge Warren Buffett fan, right? I've been attending the Berkshire annual meetings since 2017. So I thought of the idea while sitting at the meeting in 2024. This was the first meeting where Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's partner, wasn't there. He had passed away.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of sitting there thinking, what am I going to do with Berkshire shares when Warren Buffett passes away? I invested a lot for myself and for my clients in Berkshire Hathaway. And I'm afraid sitting there. And at some point in the meeting, it clicks to me that the S&P 500 will be buying more Berkshire Hathaway when Warren Buffett dies. And the reason for that is what's called a free float adjustment. So
Okay.
S&P is what's called free float adjusted market cap weighted. So they don't count his shares when they count the size of Berkshire, but when he dies, those shares become free floating. Then
Interesting.
they expand the market cap of Berkshire. I just thought, wait, why would anyone want more Berkshire after Warren Buffett? We should want more with him there and less so when he's gone. The
Yeah.
same could be applied to Tesla. Who would want more Tesla without Elon Musk? Who would want more Meta without Mark Zuckerberg, right?
Yeah.
S&P puts you on the opposite side of the table of these
Interesting.
super value creating CEOs, right? So I came home from Omaha and looked into what if we just weighted the portfolio according to their ownership instead of counting all the shares outstanding or the free float shares. What if we counted the shares held by these controlling shareholders and weighted the portfolio that way? And lo and behold, it outperformed the market by a wide margin, I went back 20 years. So I launched the index in 2024, and now we launched the ETF that tracks it.
Cool. Wow.
Yeah.
You have given me an education today in about 90 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so I don't the free floating shares, that's new to me. I'm on the growth and marketing and business development side of this industry, right? You've got the analyst mind for it, but it makes perfect sense, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These guys, and I went back even 100 years. The world has always shifted by the handful of individuals who have really changed the world. You can go back to Henry Ford, uh,
Sure. Yeah.
John D. Rockefeller. These
Yeah.
guys were extreme winners. And to allocate your portfolio according with these super value creating CEOs, you're going to outperform the market.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Tell me, how do people find out more about the fund?
Yeah, so they can go to my website or our website, insideownership.com. Very
Cool.
easy, insideownership.com. They can see the ETF, they can see the indices that we launched.
Very cool. I love what you're doing, man. Can I subscribe to any kind of communication at the website?
Yes, so on the website you'll see a newsletter which we
Cool.
send out monthly. Was
Awesome. I'm going to
yeah,
get on it.
yeah, awesome.
Yeah, very cool. Hey, you got a great story, man. I'm inspired by your story, right? Entering an industry that is completely the most successful people are absolutely extroverts. And I'm an introvert that can double as an extrovert pretty well. I've learned pretty well over almost a 3 decade career doing what I do. But yeah, I'm an introvert too, right? It's not big crowds are not comfortable necessarily, and
Yeah, yeah.
having to reach out to change my situation, not always comfortable, but you got to do it.
Yeah, yeah. So it's funny how Merrill and Morgan Stanley, they'll ask you to take this personality test before they hire you. And I cheated. I knew I knew what type of answers they're looking for.
Yeah,
And I guess it worked out because I survived, right?
yeah,
So I think it probably has less to do with being an extrovert or introvert. I think it has to do more with being able to be left alone and no one really telling you what you have to do, and then you have to go out and do it.
you clearly have persistence, my man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a very cool story. Here, and if any of our listeners wants to reach out, maybe learn more about the ETF, maybe ask you questions about your transitions through different iterations in the industry, are you good being a resource?
Absolutely. They could email me. It's very easy. It's my first name, Haren, at insideownership.com.
Awesome. Haren, Haren at insideownership.com.
That's
Haren
right.
Bhakta, my new friend. Thank you for being here. Thank you for inspiring me and I'm sure other listeners. And you've got a cool journey. You learned a lot the big firms. You took a leap of faith with not only your RIA, but now with Inside Ownership Index. I applaud you, man. It's really cool to know you and to follow your story.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. And for anybody listening to RA Collective, you know how it goes. Share it, tell people about it. We like to think we're doing some good things in the industry and just highlighting people who have made that move to independence. Fourth least trusted industry in the US. We got to change that because there's so many great people doing so many great things. And so yeah, share this episode. And if you know anybody I should interview, by all means, hit me up on the website or hit me up on LinkedIn or whatever it is. I'm pretty easy to find. I think I'm the only Charlie Van Derven on the planet. I think so.
I'm
So
doing Haren Bhakta, I think.
easy enough, man. That it's easy to stand apart then. Haren, thanks for being here and our listeners. Appreciate you tuning in to another episode of RIA Collective.